Mom texted, "We changed the locks and gate code, we don't trust you anymore." I replied, "Smart move. But you forgot one thing." Then I canceled the $4,800 mortgage I was still paying. 2 days later, their lawyer called. I never answered. Hey everyone. Before we kick off today's video, I've got a favor to ask. We've noticed our channel isn't getting as much love lately, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can help us out. It's quick, free, and it means we can keep bringing you awesome content. Your support really means a lot, so let's work together to keep this channel growing. Thanks a bunch. Now, let's dive into the video. My mom sent this text saying they changed the locks on the front door and even updated the gate code. Basically, they don't trust me anymore. Ouch, right? It's one of those texts that'll stick with you forever. It showed up right at 8:14 a.m., like she'd been planning it all night and finally hit send. I just stared at it. Not that I didn't see it coming, I kind of always knew this might happen, but it was so formal, like getting fired from your own family. After a moment, I typed, "Understood. Very smart. But you missed something." I didn't hang around for a reply. Instead, I hopped onto my banking app and canceled the $4,800 mortgage transfer I'd been making for them every month, on the house they gave to my sister. They said she earned it by having kids and I was just the disappointing one. 2 days later, I got another message, but from a different number. This time, it was from a law office, super direct with an all-caps subject, "We have a problem. Call immediately." I never did, because by then, it was all said and done. But let me rewind a bit, because stories like this don't kick off with betrayal, they start with love, or at least the act of it. It starts with a kid who keeps saying yes, hoping one day it'll mean something. That kid was me. For years, I paid the bills, fixed the problems, and they called it help until I stopped. That day they changed the locks, but I had already changed something bigger, me. I didn't think I was just helping out, I thought I was saving the family, the house, the balance. If you asked me back then, I'd have said, "I'm just supporting. I can afford it." But it wasn't just anything, I was paying their mortgage for almost 4 years, $1,800 a month, on the dot, like a sacred family tax. Add to that the utilities, insurance, internet, even an emergency roof repair when a storm hit. My sister Lindsay always had some new crisis, maxed out credit card? I paid it. Her car needed brakes? I covered it. Daycare too pricey? Sent cash to keep things afloat. 3 years later, she was still figuring it out, and I hadn't said no. Not once. I thought that's what family does, until I realized they were counting on that. The first crack showed up on a random Sunday afternoon. I was just scrolling through Facebook waiting for a grocery order, and there it was, a photo of Lindsay, my parents, and the kids in front of the house, holding a home sweet home sign, "Gift from Lindsay." My mom's caption read, "So proud of our daughter for building a future we can all share. This home is in the right hands." I had to read it again. Lindsay's house? The right hands? No mention of me, no tag, nothing. Just them all happy on a porch I paid for. The comments were a circus of praises. "She's such a strong woman. And you're so lucky to have her." Even my aunt chimed in, saying, "Lindsay, you deserve every inch of that house." I wanted to throw my phone but didn't. I just stared at it like a bruise I wasn't ready to poke. A few days later, I called the bank just to double check, the mortgage was still under my name. But then the woman on the phone casually mentioned, "Looks like there was a request to change the primary contact to a Miss Lindsay Carson." My heart stopped. They hadn't finished verifying, but the paperwork was in the works. I hung up without another word. Then I checked my statements. That's when I noticed an extra $2,400 missing from my account, a transfer to a card I didn't authorize. I knew the number, Lindsay's emergency visa, the one I bailed out when she was unemployed 2 years ago. I texted her, "Did you use my card again?" She replied, "Don't make it a thing, Alex. We needed groceries and the kids needed shoes." "I thought we were still sharing that one," I said. "No, we weren't." She didn't say anything back, but my mom did. "Honey, Lindsay is going through so much right now. So, get this, she promised she'd pay you back. I mean, let's not flip out over a couple of bucks, right? But wait, $2,400 is just a few dollars when it's about me." Meanwhile, Lindsay misses a phone bill payment, and suddenly it's DEFCON 1. Then they changed the group chat's name to Family Circle, even though I didn't approve it. Someone drops this meme of a guy handing over his wallet, captioned, "Big Brother energy, pay now, ask never." My cousin couldn't resist and goes, "Tag Alex." Then someone else jumps in with, "Hey, can you cover my student loans too?" Even my dad chimes in, saying, "Only if you name your kid after him, gotta keep the donor happy." I just stared at my screen. No one had my back, not even a single joke to lighten the mood. So, I bounced out of the chat. They added me back, and I bailed again, this time blocking them all. But that wasn't even the worst part. Friday rolled around, and I was out mowing the yard. Same yard I've been keeping up for 3 summers because, in my dad's words, why hire someone when you're here? The mower started acting up, so I stopped for some water. While sipping away, I overhear my mom and Lindsay through the open kitchen window. Their conversation was loud and crystal clear, not a first-time thing for them. Lindsay was laughing. "Did you see his face when I told Aunt Karen the house was mine? He didn't even react, like a happy puppy sniffing a plate." Mom giggles, "It's almost done. Once the paperwork goes through, he can't say anything. He's the one who insisted on keeping it in his name. That's on him." Lindsay says, "Honestly, it's better this way. He's always been like a guest with a wallet." And then, the kicker, Mom says, "He's not family anymore, he's just a sponsor." I just stood there, bottle in hand, water slipping through my fingers. That was it, the end of whatever fantasy I was holding on to. Not family, just a sponsor. They had no clue I was eavesdropping, didn't see me walk away. But in that moment, something snapped, and something new started building inside me. Not rage, not sorrow, just plain resolve. Fast forward, and I got this fancy invite in the mail. White, gold trim, the works, please join us to celebrate Elizabeth Carson's 60th birthday. No signature, just a generic from your family. So, 60 guests, big venue, catering, some slideshow event they called Legacy. I didn't RSVP or call. I just marked the date in red on my calendar and got ready. 3 days before the shindig, I printed out a document. Total financial contributions, $211,723.84. Mortgage, utilities, repairs, insurance, each detail with dates and transaction receipts. Put it all on a USB, along with that damning audio from the open window. "He's not family anymore, he's just a sponsor." Screenshots from the chats calling me a wallet, photos of receipts, and my sister's email trying to transfer the house into her name. If she wants the house, she can have the debt too. Texted my grandpa that morning, no reply, but I didn't need it. The venue was exactly what I imagined. White tablecloths, massive balloon arrangements, a projector with childhood photos and beach trips. Waiters all snazzy in black ties, cousins in cocktail dresses, and my mom in a gleaming emerald gown standing beside a sign that read, "A house is not a home without family." I almost laughed. I showed up 10 minutes late on purpose. People turned, some smiled, others stiffened. Lindsay caught my eye, blinked, forced a smile, then pretended I wasn't there. I didn't wave or speak, just took a seat at the back. Stuff kicked off quickly. Lindsay gave a speech about sacrifice, love, real family, claiming this year brought us closer. The screen behind her showed the house with the caption "Built with love, passed down with purpose." No mention of me, of course. Then came the toast. My mom took the mic, dabbed her eyes, and gazed around like she was royalty. "I'm proud of my daughter Lindsay. She embodies what legacy means, and I'm grateful this home, our home, remains in the right hands." Cue applause and smiles, until I got up and strolled to the microphone. I wasn't going to say anything tonight, I started calmly, but since we're talking legacy, let's do the math. The projector flickered to life, followed by the audio, Mom's voice saying, "He's not family anymore, he's just a sponsor." Lindsay's voice like a puppy sniffing a plate. Gasps, people leaning forward, one woman even dropped her wine glass. I clicked again, and the screen switched, screenshot of the group chat, tag Alex, and only if he renames his. So, picture this, I'm at this family gathering, right? And things got seriously tense. I was standing in front of Lindsay, showing her this massive, 211-page invoice I had printed out. You wouldn't believe it, $1,800 a month, for 48 months. Repairs, maintenance, property tax, you name it. I told her, "I'm here with a bill, not doing you a favor." She was all like, "Are you serious?" I just nodded, "Absolutely, unless you want to call it theft." Then my mom jumps in, saying it was a gift. I couldn't help but laugh. I told her, "Funny, because I don't remember signing any gift certificates. But I sure did sign a lot of checks." Dad got up, looking like he was ready to start a fight. I turned to him and casually mentioned, "Want to talk about that loan you applied for with my name as a co-signer and just didn't tell me?" He sat right back down. That's when Gramps made a dramatic entrance. He's silent at first, just strolling to the front, grabbing the mic while everyone watched. He drops this bomb, calling my father a thief and a coward. Told him, you can't hide the truth forever, just like mud doesn't hide footprints for long. And then comes the shocker, Gramps announced he had changed the trust. Lindsay's name was off it. You could hear the gasps. My mom looked like her world was cracking apart, and Lindsay nearly fainted, holding onto a chair for dear life. Gramps dropped the mic like a boss and walked out, leaving everyone stunned. I dropped my invoice on the gift table, right next to boxed wine and photo albums, announcing for everyone to hear, you changed the locks? Well, I've changed my future. I'm not just a bank for you anymore. Then I just left, didn't even stay for cake or goodbyes. That evening was more than just a party, it was the end of their little charade. The next day, my phone blew up with 57 messages. Mom was furious, saying I embarrassed her on her birthday. Dad told me I'd never see a penny. And Lindsay was passive-aggressive as ever, posting a cryptic black screen on Instagram with vague sympathy comments flooding in. But none of her followers knew the real story or the invoice details, well, except for one person. A couple of days later, I get this call from a lawyer, Daniel Moore, cool and straight to the point. He represented my parents, wanting everything to go away quietly. They offered a settlement to keep it all under wraps. I chuckled and told him, full repayment of every cent, or I go public with proof. He realized I wasn't bluffing. Exactly 72 hours later, my account showed a deposit of $211,723.84. Not from my parents or Lindsay, but some mysterious business account, maybe a friend trying to help my dad out of this mess. I made sure to document everything, no thanks, no responses, just business. A week later, I posted a video, no drama, just the facts. I wasn't looking for closure through forgiveness, closure came with that wire transfer. I showed the amount but blurred the account details, making it clear this was about setting the record straight. The post blew up even more than before, resonating with people who dealt with similar family drama. It inspired some guy to cancel his mom's car lease, but I wasn't interested in responding. Later, there was a voicemail from my dad. He seemed to think money wasn't enough to fix things. But hey, for me, it was about getting paid for being pushed around for too long. So, here's the deal, I realized I wasn't part of the family anymore. They changed the locks, I changed the rules. Now I'm in a cool little apartment with big windows and total peace. No family group texts, no midnight SOS calls, no guilt trips pretending to be concerned. People ask if breaking away hurt, but honestly, I don't feel like I lost anything, I feel free. Yeah, it cost me $211,723.84, but worth every penny. Everyone wonders if cutting them off brought peace or closure, and the truth is, I don't feel lighter, just clearer. Sometimes peace has a weight to it, like the solid feeling of finally being on my own team. After I walked away, they disappeared, just as I figured, no calls, no we miss you, just silence. It's a silence that confirms what I always suspected, I was more of a service than a son, and when I stopped serving, I didn't fit in. A couple of months later, I discovered the joy of mornings without a buzzing phone. Sunlight through clean windows and the sound of coffee brewing became part of my new routine, no more group chats begging for quick favors, no backhanded comments about not calling mom. Some folks still say, but they're your family, and I just nod. It's like saying a cage is a home if you've never known anything else. But stepping outside, I found air that doesn't demand proof of my usefulness. I don't share my story much now, unless someone really deserves to hear it. Sharing trauma over and over just gets exhausting. So when people ask why I'm distant from my family, I simply say, I stopped confusing access for love. That's usually enough to end the conversation. I used to check if they reached out, nope, not once. Not a single apology or we're sorry for everything. Just radio silence, as if I never existed. Let them pretend, they always were good at that. They might think I'm still waiting for them to change or apologize, I'm not. I've seen who they are, and when the mask slips, it's time to walk away. Forgiveness? It's not happening. That requires acknowledging mistakes, taking responsibility, showing regret, none of which they've done. So, I give nothing back. My therapist once asked what I'd say if they were right in front of me. After thinking about it, I realized I'd say nothing. Speaking would imply they still have a hold on me, and they don't. I've erased them from my life, not out of spite, but out of necessity. Survival can be quiet like that. I imagine they tell others I cut them off over money, or that I was always the distant one. Whatever. They can cling to their fantasy. I live with the facts, and they're unshakable. Facts don't need approval or attention, they just are, like me now. I'm not living in some fairy tale or revenge fantasy. It's just my life, simple, real, and mine. I work, relax, laugh when it's funny, and eat when I'm hungry, not because I'm dragged to a family dinner where I'll end up forgotten. I still remember my mom saying if I ever left, they'd fall apart. She was right, they did. But I didn't. I'm not broken, not bitter, just done. Not as a warning or statement, just a fact. Like a locked phone or a cleared inbox, free and whole.